Beyond Good and Evil. Prelude to a Philosophy of the Future. How does it relate to free spirit and the philosophy of the future? What a weird simplification and falsification individuals live in. The wonders never end, for those that devoted their eyes to such wondering. Dogmatism starts as early as 1595 to 1605, it is an arrogant assertion of opinions as truth. To be dogmatic is to follow a set of rules no matter what. A dogmatic person would never waver in their beliefs, so if you have the plan to change their minds, don't try in the first place. Friedrich Nietzsche, who was a German philosopher, defined dogmatism as noble childishness. He also said that we, free spirit, should be grateful to dogmatic philosophers. He said that in the sense that these dogmatic beliefs become the stepping stone or a backbone for free spirit and the philosophy of the future. From the book of Beyond Good and Evil, Prelude to a Philosophy of the Future, published by Friedrich Nietzsche, how does this book relate to free spirit and the philosophy of the future? From the section 32 of the book entitled Free Spirit, Nietzsche defined the three stages of social morality. First, pre-moral, it characterizes a prehistorical man. The value of an action is determined by consequences. The action and intention is irrelevant to its moral worth. Here Nietzsche writes the retroactive force of success or failure is what led men to think well or ill of an action. Second is moral. It characterizes civilized man. The value of an action is determined by its origin. Certainly led to superstition. The origin and value of an action was equated with the person's intention, but here Nietzsche posed the question, what is the source of intention? He stated that, the intention is merely a sign and symptom that will require interpretation, the morality of intention is prejudice. Third and the last is extra-moral or post-moral. Nietzsche said we are now at threshold of a new reversal in values. Where in this new era the value of an action will be determined by what is unintentional. This looks beyond to the traditional conception of good and evil and see what lies beneath them. Nietzsche emphasizes our knowledge is based upon falsification of reality. Our will to ignorance leads us away from the harsh truth and towards a comfortable and simple falsification of reality. This three stages of morality leads Nietzsche to conclude the difference between a common man and a free spirit. The free spirits among us flourish on separation and individuality, though this is a tough and risky life to follow. On one's own, one faces unfamiliar dangers that no one else will understand. One's successes and failures are completely one's own and cannot be shared. The thoughts of these free spirits are prone to be misjudged and dangerously misinterpreted by lesser people. Still, free spirits devoted to knowledge will commit themselves to foregoing their independence and associating with others. In his book, Nietzsche compares his dogmatism with the free spirit that is not wrapped up in a single point of view. He hopes that the truth seekers of the future will be distinguished by such an experimental approach, ready to test any theory, and follow any argument all the way to its end. Free spirits are so called because they do not allow themselves to be tied down to any of the certainties or truths that are based on prejudice. They engage in a fundamental skepticism that drives them to question everything. But greater number of people remain tied to assumptions and prejudices. They tend to misinterpret truly deep thoughts. They only understand things on a level that their intellect is capable of handling, and they tend to simplify and distort ideas that are above them. Hence, Nietzsche suggests, the free spirit must appear masked to the crowds. People cannot understand such freedom of spirit and so interpret it as something else entirely. This point is particularly appropriate for Nietzsche, whose writings have been so misunderstood and misinterpreted. Section 25 Solitude. Nietzsche gives warning to his fellow free spirit, do not be tempted by martyrdom, suffering for truth's sake, and indifferent judgment of others. Choose solitude and wear a series of subtle masks to conceal your true teachings. From Section 29. Few are made for independence, it is a privilege of the strong. This concludes Nietzsche's idealism of the philosophy of the future. Nietzsche's ideal philosophy of the future is one that is free enough to shift outlooks and overturn the truths and other dogmas of unbending thinking. Such philosophy would see moral concepts such as good and evil as merely surfaces that have no essential meaning. Such philosophy would thus move beyond good and evil. Nietzsche's ideal philosophers would also turn their will to power inward, struggling constantly against themselves to overcome their own prejudices and assumptions. There is no such thing as one exact or absolute viewpoint. Every single viewpoint is the expression of some will or other. Instead of trying to talk about the truth, we should try to remain as flexible as possible, looking at matters from as many different perspectives as possible. This concludes on how the book of Beyond Good and Evil, Prelude to a Philosophy of the Future relate to free spirit and the philosophy of the future. Thank you for watching.